For 1,000 years, it was the greatest city on earth, the capital of the Roman Empire, a beacon of civilization, protected by a fortress believed to be unbreakable. These were the walls of Constantinople. They had repelled every great army that dared to assault them. For a millennium, they stood as a symbol of permanence, a promise that Rome, in some form, would last forever. But in the spring of 1453, that promise was about to be shattered by an ambition as vast as the empire it sought to conquer. In 1453, this city was all that remained of a once mighty empire. It was led by Constantine XI, the last of the Roman emperors. He was a man burdened by the weight of 1,000 years of history, ruling a ghost of an empire, a city whose population had dwindled, but whose spirit remained defiant. And facing him was a new, unstoppable force, the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II. At just 21 years old, he was a brilliant military strategist, a polymath who spoke multiple languages, and a ruler consumed by a singular, burning obsession to conquer the city his ancestors had failed to take. This wasn't just about territory for Mehmed, it was about destiny. He saw himself as the fulfillment of a prophecy, the great conqueror who would finally claim the red apple, the ultimate prize. Mehmed knew that to break the unbreakable, he needed a new kind of weapon. The old methods of siege warfare, catapults, siege towers, attrition had all failed against the triple-layered Theodosian walls. He needed something revolutionary, something that could pulverize stone and shatter morale in a single blow. He commissioned a Hungarian engineer named Orban to build him the largest cannon the world had ever seen. It was a monster of bronze, a true superweapon of its time. Christened the Great Turkish Bombard, it was so massive it took a team of 60 oxen just to move it, and its firing process was so laborious it could only be discharged 7 times a day. But each shot was an earthquake. Each massive stone ball, weighing over half a ton, screamed towards the ancient walls with terrifying force, heralding a new age of warfare where stone and faith were no match for gunpowder and iron. For 53 days, the city endured a relentless bombardment. The sound became a constant soul-shaking drumbeat of doom. Day after day, the giant cannonballs hammered away at the same sections of the wall, slowly, agonizingly grinding down the ancient fortifications that had protected the city for 1,000 years. The defenders, a small cobbled-together force of Byzantines and their Genoese allies, worked tirelessly under the cover of darkness, frantically repairing the damage with rubble, earth, and wood. But they were outnumbered almost 10 to 1. Their one crucial advantage was their control of the sea. The entrance to the city's harbor, the Golden Horn, was blocked by a colossal iron chain, preventing the Ottoman navy from attacking the city's weaker sea walls. This was a classic and effective defense, but Mehmed was anything but a classic commander. When his naval assaults on the chain failed, he accomplished the unthinkable. He had his fleet dragged over land. Thousands of men worked to build a road of greased logs, and over a single night, they hauled dozens of ships up and over a hill, relaunching them into the harbor behind the chain. For the defenders who woke to see Ottoman ships floating in their secure harbor, the psychological blow was immense. It was a stroke of genius, a move so audacious it seemed to defy the laws of nature. The unstoppable force was grinding down the immovable object. On May 29, 1453, after weeks of bombardment and failed negotiations, Mehmed ordered the final all-out assault. Under the cover of darkness, waves of troops hurled themselves at the breaches in the walls. The first waves were irregular troops, sent to exhaust the defenders. The second wave was more disciplined. The fighting was desperate, hand to hand, a brutal clash of swords, spears, and cannons in the narrow breaches. Amidst the chaos, the last Roman emperor, Constantine XI, famously threw off his imperial insignia, wanting no special treatment, no chance of being captured for ransom. He was a soldier of Rome, and he would die as one. He led his last remaining soldiers in a final, suicidal charge into the thickest of the fighting. He died fighting in the streets a Roman emperor to the very end. His body was never definitively identified. The fall of Constantinople was more than the fall of a city. It was the end of a 1,000-year-old empire. It was the final, definitive end of the Roman Empire, an institution that had shaped the Western world for 2 millennia. The news sent shockwaves across Europe. For many it felt like the apocalypse. This event is often used by historians to mark the definitive end of the Middle Ages. The conquest also triggered a wave of Greek scholars fleeing west, bringing with them priceless ancient manuscripts and knowledge that had been preserved in Constantinople for centuries. They settled in Italy, helping to ignite the flame of the Renaissance, a rebirth of classical art, science, and philosophy. Today, the city, now called Istanbul, is a vibrant, bustling metropolis. The mighty walls that witnessed so much history still stand, a silent testament to the empire they once protected. The great cathedral of Hagia Sophia, once the heart of Orthodox Christianity, still dominates the skyline. The city is a living museum, a place where East meets West, and where the echoes of Constantine and Mehmed can still be felt. It was a historical turning point, a moment that closed one chapter of human history and opened another, all decided by the ambition of one young sultan and the terrible power of a single weapon that changed the rules of war forever. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. Let me know in the comments what historical turning point you'd like to see covered next. We'll see you in the next one.